Hey guys, Lord here, back again with another action figure review and wrapping up our looks at the DC Multiverse Walmart exclusive, oh boy, vampire figures. We have the Green Lantern himself, Mr. Hal Jordan. The first Hal Jordan I've looked at from the DC Multiverse line, brought to us by, of course, the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys. I know there was a Hal Jordan released in a 2-pack with the Dawnbreaker, but I already had a Dawnbreaker. I did not need 2 of those. So I don't have that particular figure, but I do have good old John Stewart from the Frost King? Ice King? Whatever it was. He looked like some Game of Thrones reject wave from almost a couple years ago now that utilizes a lot of the same parts. So we will be doing a bit of a comparison with him. That said, this figure is essentially that 2-pack Hal Jordan with some new bits thrown here and there to make him fit the vampire theme that Walmart seems to be running the gamut on, as far as I can tell. Because the next figure in this line is Damian Wayne, I assume as Robin, and he appears to be a Walmart exclusive as well. So fingers crossed that one is easy enough to obtain, because I know some of these Walmart figures, as a real Batman, were not very easy to get a hold of about a year ago from this moment in time. The calendar year 2023, for those of you watching this in the future. So getting right into it, cutting to the chase, getting to the meat and taters of this review. Hal Jordan, of course, comes with a collectible trading card with a bio on the back, and I'm sure explains the origins of Hal Jordan, but not this particular version of the character. Again, I'm still curious how this whole thing transpired. I know he was the first to infiltrate the Justice League with the vampire infection here. That said, he does come with a couple of effect parts, like this wicked looking claw, which I wish we got 2 of these, but I only got the 1. But I guess it's fine, because it goes on the left arm, or the right arm, excuse me, which is the arm the ring is on. Isn't it like the middle finger on the right hand? So that makes the most sense, I guess. But he does also get this really cool flame effect, which is not even close to being attached to the ring. So, you know, I don't know. I would have liked another claw, I think. That would have been really cool. That said, taking a closer look at Mr. Hal Jordan here. Comes the hockey puck display stand. We're used to seeing with all McFarlane Toys releases. And here is the figure. He's got some Ghost Rider shiznit going on with the hair there. His head is literally on fire. I'm on fire! Like Van Halen used to say on their debut album, 1976. One of the sickest head sculpts in this line, period. I really like the Superman. I really did. But this one is just, it's got the flames, it's got the screaming mouth with the fangs poking out. That's just freaking sick, dude. I love that. That is awesome. Really cool sculpt on the claws for the hands. He actually has claws that don't look like they have arthritis. That's cool. He's got white gloves, as opposed to the green kind of gauntlets or cuffs or whatever that the John Stewart figures have. And, you know, something I noticed with this body, particularly with this figure, how nice the anatomy is, man. He's got the V shape. It thins out at the waist. Goes out towards the shoulders. His arms aren't spindly. Maybe a little bit, but not too bad. He doesn't have a giant crotch gap the size of Kansas. His feet don't look like clown shoes or pigeon toes. This is a pretty well sculpted buck. And looking at the Superman off cam here, he's pretty good too. I would say this one has a little bit more of that V shape going on, but the Superman's no slouch either. That one's actually not too bad. So yeah, I gotta give him kudos for this body, man. It's really good. At least on this release. So as far as articulation on this figure goes, he can look up and down. Not as much as Superman. If you push it, you can get pretty good up. He can look down better than Superman, though. So you get the best of both worlds. Does have tilt side to side. Really good tilt, too. Look at that. You can get into that kind of pose. He does rotate. His shoulders go out to the side. Nice and tight there. Nice and crunchy. This one not so much, but whatever. He does have a bicep swivel. He's got a double elbow, which is nice and crunchy as well. That said, I don't know if I'll be able to bend it on this side. This side's... There we go. There. It's loose when you get to here, which is kind of ironic. And then you got the lower joint there. But he can literally, you know, bop himself in the face. I can't get this to bend. There. He can literally crunch like all the way up. So that's pretty good range. Yeah, that's a tighter joint right there. Makes me wonder why it gets so loose down here. Look at that. It's all, hello. He's waving to you. Welcome to Vampire Green Lantern's neighborhood. He's got waving action, especially if you shake him around a little bit. But it's not, nothing's cracked or anything. It's just tight until that point. So very, very, very weird. The wrists do have the ball hinges. So you can move them forward and back. You can rotate them a bit. Does have rotation in the top and the bottom. I do believe he has the ring sculpted on this hand. Looks like it's there. Yes, it is sculpted on the hand. It's on his middle finger. I thought this guy used the same claws as Superman. That is not the case. He can crunch pretty far forward. You use both joints there. But you do get this lip on the back. So be mindful of that. Crunch way back. But again, you get the waist piece. Kind of gets caught in the shuffle there. But you can finagle it and adjust it accordingly. Oh, that's really loose now. Interesting. That said, you can also rotate it and make it not so loose. There you go. Yeah, that was weird. So, you know, lots of range out of this, but just be mindful it does have loose points like any joint like that. And this is soft plastic, so it's going to have a lot of slack. Whereas, you know, the Joker vampire figure, he had the buttoned up coat, and I think he had something like this underneath. So, you know, it's going to hinder the articulation no matter how you swing it. That said, his hips can kick out to the side. Almost doing perfect split there. But they can get caught on the diaper here if you're not careful. It feels like this one doesn't move out as far. No, that's about the same. He does have a thigh cut. It works just fine. Legs kick forward and back. You can do a 90-degree kick there. Because I do believe this is a modified diaper piece to allow for that extra range in the legs. He does have a double jointed knee. It does have a little bit of the Cliffs of Dover going on. Not terrible though. And then his ankles do hinge forward and back. They have that ball joint there. They do have the rocker as well as the toe joint, which on him is the loosest, but it's still not floppy loose, so I'll take it. And that's your lot. for the Vampire Green Lantern. Really cool figure. Look at that. I love that sound. It's so satisfying because it means it's not loose and it's also not tight enough to break. So I love that crunchy sound. It's like some Captain Crunch cereal. You can't beat it. I will tell you though, getting this flame thingy on is kind of a chore. So you gotta get it around his neck and then find out where it goes in his back. Gonna line it up. And that can be easier said than done, so if you bear with me for a second, I'll try and get this on. Where is that peg? There it is. And there's the peg hole. Yeah, that's kind of tricky. Peg's really short too. That's what she said. Can I freaking get this in? Like I said, it's easier said than done, man. You really gotta find the sweet spot, and then it will go in. I mean, look at that. It's supposed to go a certain way. You don't want to peg in there. There we go. I had to force it down a little more. If you heated this thing up, it'd probably be a little easier to get on his shoulders here. But it is specifically sculpted to go one way. That said, this claw thingy, not as difficult. Just be mindful of the wrist here. But thankfully, I don't think is painted. Shouldn't be that bad. There we go. So, you know, worst case scenario, you might scratch the glove, maybe. No, it's not even scratched, so you shouldn't have anything to worry about with this thing. But I will say, if you don't hinge his hand out all the way, it's going to be kind of floppy loose. So it is meant to go one way on that arm, but you can rotate the hand with that on there, which is nice. So that's Vampire Green Lantern in a nutshell. Flame's a bit of a pain in the nuts to get on there, but the claw is cool. And when you get everything on there, it looks pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. I like the look of this figure quite a bit. So with that all being said, let's move right along. Take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's the Vampire Green Lantern Hal Jordan alongside good old John Stewart from the Endless Winter Wave, which takes on a whole new meaning if you live in upstate New York or the northern hemisphere of the good old US of A. Of course, I have him kitted out with the Rebirth Green Lantern's accessories, the backpack, the chest armor, and the minigun, because this is the more articulated version of that particular figure. And we also have, in my opinion, the other really solid offering from this Justice League versus the Vampires line, the Vampire Superman. Because just look at these two. They just seem to have a little bit more effort put into them, despite the fact that they are probably reusing some parts. So getting these two out of the way. This, of course, would not be one of my videos without bringing in the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith. Right there. And the infamous 11 Spawn, who I guess you could maybe use this claw and flame effect on if you got one without the big clunky gauntlet on the right arm there. That would be a cool thought. Maybe the one with the throne, because he does have a peg hole on his back, but I'm not sure if it'll fit or not. Maybe I'll have to try that and update you guys in a future video. So with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. overall, and aside from any gripes I may have had with the Endless Winter Jon Stewart Green Lantern that utilized a lot of these same parts, I gotta tell you, out of this, is it Justice League versus the Vampires? I don't know. This whole Vampire Justice League, whatever you want to call it, offering from the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys' DC Multiverse line, I think old Hal Jordan here is the best one. He's got the cool claw, he's got the cool flames, he's got probably the gnarliest head sculpt, and claws that don't look like they have arthritis. And out of all these figures, I think he's the most articulated. Granted, that torso's a little funky. You gotta kind of work with it to make it not look weird, but once you get everything situated and get him in a really sick pose like this one right here, I think he stands out as the diamond of greatness in this line. I really like this figure. I think he has a really good chance of making it onto my top DC Multiverse figures of the year if I do make a video for that. I'm debating on doing so because I got a lot of catching up to do. If you hadn't noticed, I was on a hiatus for quite some time, and got a lot of DC Multiverse figures in that time, and it's going to take me some time to get through all those, but for now, we got Hal Jordan, Vampire Hal Jordan, Green Lantern here, and he is freaking sweet. And much like the Superman I took a look at yesterday, please check that out if you haven't already. Really appreciate it if you did. I got to give a big shout out to the local friend who shall not be named for privacy reasons for hooking this up. I don't know if I would have got him if it wasn't for him. He found it out of town. So, big shout out to him. Love this figure. If you don't have it already, you need it. Especially if you're a Green Lantern, horror, vampire, whatever you want to call it fan. He's friggin' fantastic. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.